Hi guys, welcome back to Girl Therapy. I'm your host Nicole, and I am here today with a very special guest, Hannah.
Hi y'all.
I feel like some people are gonna be like, wait, I didn't even know they were friends. Who is
No, I
she?
love this.
Like,
I love this.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Eskenazi.
Oh, okay. So I was saying it so wrong. I thought it was like Heskey.
Well, that's like my name, like my TikTok name. I made it easy.
Okay, I didn't make that up. Okay.
You didn't.
Can you say it again?
Eskenazi.
Eskenazi.
Yeah.
Okay, Hannah Eskenazi. If you guys don't follow her, you absolutely need to follow her. She does a lot of, well, she started with, and we'll get into this. The way she started was kind of like similar to me in terms of like oversharing her dating life, and now she does a lot of like vlogs and wholesome things, and she's just such a fun, real character, and I am your biggest fan. I love following your content.
I love you.
And I was so we actually met like, what was it, 3 weeks ago?
Bro, it's literally crazy. We met and we just started like lore dumping.
Yeah. Lore dumping.
I'm like, yeah, so I was in rehab.
No, that you did. Yeah, no. Wait. And that's how I knew. I was like, oh, it's love at first sight. She's gonna be my best friend. But we met at a Pilates event, actually, like on a boat. And when I saw her walk on, like I like knew, like I recognized you, but I like hadn't seen you on my For You page in so long, and I was like waiting for the day that maybe we bumped into each other. But like, I don't know. I was not expecting it to be at a Kiki's boat Pilates event.
You want to scream because my sister told me that she met you because she went on a date with one of your friends.
Shut up. Who?
Chase. I think that's. She was like, yeah. And like he took me on a date with his entire friend group. And then they all dropped me off with an Uber.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I need to talk to your. Wait, she met me though?
She said
I was there. Was I on
Apparently.
I was on the date.
I think so.
Wait, when was this? Rue.
When was this, Rue? I literally have no. The Rue. I can't. I have no idea when this was. She just told me because when we met, she's like, oh my God, no way. Like, I love her. I met her once. And then she just told me yesterday. She's like, yeah, I actually met her on a date.
We need to unpack this more when we like have a chance.
We do.
That's so funny. So like, yeah, we actually started talking in the boat because I was like, oh yeah, like I think they offered me champagne. And I was like, oh no, like I don't drink. And then you were like, I don't drink. And it's so funny because like I had this impression of you that you were like this party girl for some reason, and like, you know, chaotic and all these crazy things. And you were like, I don't drink. And I'm like, wait. And then a few other girls like also said they didn't drink too.
Yeah.
And then we all just started connecting and talking, and I feel like that was our icebreaker.
It was.
And then it was like, then after that it was like,
I could not
shut the fuck up. But I was like, I need to have Hannah on so we could talk about your whole journey and TikTok and like how you're kind of rebranding.
Yeah.
And also we'll get into a little bit of the dating stuff because that's fun.
Yes.
So I don't know, tell them a little bit about you.
Okay.
And then we'll get into some other things.
Y'all, I'm Hannah. I have definitely like had different phases of my life. Like you said, the whole thing that like kind of blew up my audience on TikTok was my whole dating thing and like the going out stuff. And I feel like that's what people like to see, which is not that it's sad, but it's kind of like, why do I have to be this way in order for people to like want to watch me and stuff like that? So that's part of my like rebranding, is me going back to who I like truly am and like my values and the things that make me whole as a person, and not just like doing it for the views.
I think, and you are 20, how old are you?
24.
Okay. Like, she's a baby, guys. She's my little sister. But a lot of my viewers like are in their 20s, early 20s as well. And I think you at 24 being that self-aware is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you have to give yourself credit for that.
Yeah, honestly. Like, the thing is, I feel like if I would have continued down the path of doing it like for the views and the clout, I would have gotten into a depression. Like I would have woken up one day and been like, I'm not even me. Like this isn't what makes me happy. Like what truly makes me happy. I'm just doing things to please other people, I feel like. And like, so I can't, it started feeling off, and I go a lot based on my feelings. If something doesn't feel right, I trust my gut a lot.
Yes.
So I'm like, I need to pull back. I need to like take a break and reevaluate and kind of see what feels right for me.
Yeah. Was there something that specifically like spooked you, where you were like, oh, I gotta like not do this anymore? Or was it like a slow progression?
It was like, not necessarily that it spooked me, but it was just more like, first of all, this one's kind of bad, but I felt I was getting worse with my ED, trigger warning. Yeah, I felt like I was getting worse because I felt like I had to look a certain way so that, like, you know, this is all mental. This is all stuff that, like, I think, but being like a physical icon, like people knowing me for the way that I look, my going out, get readies with me, like all that stuff, I feel like it is definitely not good for your mental health if you struggle with things like this, to be like constantly, you know, like
criticized. You're being judged always. Yeah.
Not only, I mean, criticized, but also like you have to make sure in your head, you're like, oh, like I'm posting this, like I need to look this way. I was doing it more of like just things that weren't based off of like what I am and what I believe in. It was more like going out outfits and like get dressed with me to go out, and then I would come back and talk about like the stories of like what happened like with guys, and it's like that's not stuff that I care about as a person.
Right.
Like I want to be true to what I care about and what I am, and if I'm constantly putting stuff out there that isn't me, I'm gonna become that person that I don't want to be. I was at my lowest point. That's when I had just gotten a job at Prada. I was working at Prada.
Okay, Prada girl.
Shout out. I hated it. I literally hated it.
Is that a hard job to get, to work at?
Honestly,
Prada?
I bullshitted it. Like when I applied, I kind of just did it just for the plot. Like I walked in and because my mom was like, bro, respectfully, you need to get out of the house. Okay,
we'll talk about that too, because you still live at home.
Yeah, after my whole like partying phase,
were you drinking and partying, or did you just party?
I was sober.
Wait, have you always been sober?
Yeah.
But have you gone through a phase of drinking?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. When did you like get sober?
So I started off kind of early, like when I was like 15, 16.
That's when I started too. Yeah. I started in like 4th grade. How old are you?
Oh, me.
No, wait.
Like me. Same.
Wait, no. I think I started though. I mean,
actually,
7th grade.
10.
It was 7th grade. 4th grade, I was thinking about when my trauma started. That was 4th grade. I didn't start drinking till like 6th grade or 7th grade.
Yeah.
Like
6th grade?
Yeah.
That's kind of early.
No, it was. My hometown was a little bit like, we were fucked up.
Really?
Like everybody was a little messed up. It was like a rich hometown. Everyone was bored. Like we had, you know, access to our parents weren't home type of vibe. And it was like, let's go through the cabinets. And it wasn't like I was like pounding, you know, beers or anything. I've never done that in my life. But I was like, we would take like a little like sip of the Clue, and then we'd like twist it really up and like look around and be like, oh my God, doesn't it? You know, it was just like taking a little bit. And then by the time I was in high school, I was like, I mean, I'm looking at it now, it's like we were alcoholics. Like we were drinking like during the week, like we were fiending for alcohol. We were getting drunk. But by the time I got to college, I was over it. Like I didn't drink a lot in college at all. I didn't really go through a crazy party phase. And then I think it restarted again when I moved to New York, because it was like, you know, I was young and single for the first time in New York City, and the going out culture there is like you go out, you get drinks, and you do that thing. Yeah. And then it wasn't like until like 6 months ago, which was when my viewers know, like that I've wholly committed to full blown sober. I hadn't been drinking a lot for the last couple of years, but like for you to be 24 and like, I mean, it took me, you know, I'm 29. So it took me a little bit longer to get to a point where I was like, alcohol just doesn't make me feel good. And I don't like resonate with it at all. And I don't want anything to do with it. So for you to like have this at 24 is like early. But it's amazing, because I think there's a lot of young people who need that, you know, to need that example of like, you can be 24 and not drink or not do the party life.
Literally, I feel like there's so much stigma and so much pressure that, oh my God, like the college life, like this and that. You know what? If it makes you,
everybody should, do what makes you happy.
yeah,
Live your truth.
Yeah, I'm saying I experienced it. I went to college and it just, the college life experience was not for me. And I feel like it's glamorized now. But yeah, I honestly, like, my roommates would go out and I would literally be like, oh, I don't want to go out. Like, I'm staying. Like, I would like stay in. Like, I'm not. Yeah. Especially because at that time also I wasn't drinking. Okay. Because I had already like realized, I'm like, okay, alcohol, because backtrack.
Okay, here we go.
After, how old was I? I was 15. This was like during some of like my trauma, like right after my trauma. Yeah. My parents divorced, whatever. Same. Yeah, literally. I would like to leave my house and not have to be there on the weekends. I would sleep over my friend's house every single weekend. I kid you not, Friday to Sunday. And I'm Jewish, so oh my God, this is so bad. But Friday nights was like Shabbat, and then to Saturday night, basically like you can't use electronics or whatever. Right. I don't like follow that, but when I would go to my friend's house, we would like do that because we were like together. We're like, oh, like we don't need to use like our phones, whatever. So I'd have like my wholesome little Friday night. Then Saturday night comes around. And I tell my parents, I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna sleep over like the entire weekend. We're doing like Shabbat, whatever. Saturday night rolls around and we're getting drunk. We're going to hookah bars.
You're like, Shabbat who?
Shabbat who? Shabbat who? Like, Shabbat shalom, but like, I'm outside. I would literally, I kid you not, we would go to hookah lounges.
Oh my God.
Yes. And the people that know me during that era, you know that I couldn't handle my alcohol. Like I'm the type of person, this is actually kind of like really bad, but I'm very like extreme. I'm very like black and white. I either don't do something or I do it completely. Yeah. And that's not good when it comes to things like this.
No, I know. I actually talked about this in my episode last week. I was like, I realized I'm a bit of an extremist, and it's not 100%. Like I was like drinking. I'm like, oh, I'm an alcoholic type of thing. But like if I was going out, I'm like, I'm committing to the bit. Like I'm not going out for 2 drinks most likely. Like, and then there came a time in my life where I was like, well, I don't need more than that, and I was just starting to wean off of alcohol. But when I was going out and partying, I was going out and partying. Yeah. Like I wasn't. I would wake up the next day with regret, with a swollen face, with texts that I shouldn't have sent. Like. I did the damn thing. Yeah. So I get that. Yeah. And then when I committed to being sober, I was like, I'm sober. Like there's no questions asked. Like I don't need to play with the in-between stuff. Like I'm sober. And that's how I go on the extreme ends of the spectrum. So what were you saying?
I was on the alcohol side of the extremes. Yeah. And it was literally every single weekend. And my parents had no idea. Oh my God, it was so funny. They would like pick me up from my friend's house and they were like, vaping, because at that time, like the big like blocks of like they would be like using that, and I would smell like a fruity pebble, and my mom would pick me up. She's like, what is, like, oh my God, like your perfume. I'm like, yep. It was every single weekend I would get blackout drunk, and then eventually once my ed got back, I was like, I cut everything off. Not only alcohol, I cut everything off. Yeah. And then since then, I kind of like stopped drinking, but then I started drinking again, maybe like 2 years later. And then it wasn't excessive, but I was a lot more self-aware, and I was like, this is not making me feel good. Like, I don't like how this makes me feel. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, now I remember why I kind of stopped. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It takes a little reminder sometimes where it's like, oh, let me try this again. And it's like, actually, no. Yeah. I remember why I don't like doing this. Yeah. So, okay. So how long have you been like sober? So that was like from 17 to I would say like 21, 22. Me counting with my fingers. So that was like what, 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And then I tried like drinking again and I didn't like it. So from there to now, 24, probably like 6-7 years.
Wow. That's incredible. I love that for you. I can't wait to get to that point. So many people are like, how do you find the people who are sober, like that align with you? And I really just think that you have to like talk about it. And as annoying as it's to be the person who's like, I'm sober and I don't drink, like, you don't know who else is
It's
also
true.
not, like, because you don't realize, like, some people just drink seltzer waters and you don't know. And I think, like, me saying that opened up the conversation for so many people to be like, wait, I actually don't either. I don't this and that. And then that's how you find people that align with you. But, like, you have to talk about it. Like, you have to tell people. And that's how you find your people, and don't be embarrassed by it.
Not at all.
You know?
And
like,
I hate when, like, I also hate the type of people that will pressure you to do something you don't want to do. They're like, oh, like, why aren't you drinking?
It's them projecting.
Yeah, it is.
Because they're insecure about nobody, like, all my friends who drink, like, since I stopped drinking, nobody pressures me. Nobody gives a shit. As long as I'm there, they're happy. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And that's because, like, they're happy drinking. I'm happy not drinking. We're having a great time together. And that's fine. Like, no one's projecting onto the other person. Anybody who tries to, like, force you to drink,
not for you. Yeah,
they're not happy with themselves. No. They probably shouldn't be drinking themselves, and they know that. Mm-hmm. And you're making them. You're the reminder of that to them. God, yeah. Like, you're reminding them, like, oh, I need to, maybe shouldn't be doing this, or that's who I aspire to be, but I don't have the self control or X, Y, and Z to do so. So I think that's why people, like, would ever project onto somebody else or have a problem with that. But okay, so you got your job at Prada, and how long did that last?
That lasted about maybe 6 months.
Okay.
I don't know.
Put on some solid work there.
Yeah, I really did. And you know what? I was the only one in my position. Like, there was nobody else. So
what do you mean? What was your position?
Okay, so we had, like, retail workers that were, like, the salespeople.
Yeah.
And then we had the people in back of house. And then we also had, like, the manager and stuff like that. And I was basically the one that would, like, get things for the salespeople. And there was maybe like 10, 13 salespeople. And I was mostly working in the men's department. But then everybody would, like, not hating. Oh my God, I'm literally not hating.
She's not a hater.
I'm not a hater. But, like, as a company and as, like, a store, you should not only hire one person in a position where you know that help is going to be needed in different areas. Mm-hmm. So, like, in different areas where you should fill that position with, like, somebody else, like, more people working in that position. So since I was the only one, I was always doing things for, like, other people, and then I would stop doing something because somebody else would ask me to do something, and it was just chaos. And basically I told my manager, I was like, hey, I'd like to take less hours. Is there any way I can do that? She's like, actually, no. But our review for you is coming up and it's not going to be great. So I'm like, are you telling me I should quit? Are you telling me I should quit? Because I will.
You should let them fire you. Because then
she didn't tell me. She's like, because I asked her, I'm like, would it be better if I just quit? Like, give you, like, because, like, I will. Like, I want to. Like, since we're talking quitting, like I'm a quitter. Well, quitter for that. I'm a quitter for that because that shit was not making me happy. Another point: you should never do things that do not make you happy. Like, if it doesn't feel right and you feel like you're forcing yourself to do it, then, like, get out. Yeah. Anyways, so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks. She's like, yeah, because if you don't, like, put in your 2 weeks and you just wait for us to fire you, then it's gonna look bad if you try to get another job. She said that, and I was out that bitch.
It just added to your character.
It did.
You worked for Prada.
I did.
That's something it's a story you can tell now.
Exactly.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
So you're living at home.
I am.
How is living at home? I think a lot of people probably still live at home with their parents.
Let me tell you something.
And that's
Let me tell you something.
Good and bad.
Let me tell you something. So I used to be very ungrateful to live at home, and I was very like, I can't wait to get out of here, like, da-da-da. And that's when I went away to college, and I had a very bad experience in college. A lot of traumatizing shit happened to me. I was under pressure with money and under pressure with, I didn't feel good. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, a whole other lore. It's, like, my college lore, but my followers know. So,
well, not everybody here's your followers, so if there's something you should.
Oh my God.
She's like, the real ones now. It's like, well, I don't know.
Okay, literally
Where did you go to college?
I was going to go to UCF, but I started at Valencia. the local college.
Okay.
I went to college and many things happened. First, one of the things, bitch, I got lice.
That was not what I was expecting to come out.
No.
But
That was the
who
beginning.
gets lice?
I'm saying I don't.
Unless you're literally in elementary school.
And I'm
How
a
did you get
hypochondriac,
lice?
bro. Let me tell
Oh
you.
yeah, I forgot that about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You are.
I'm a fucking hypochondriac. But I was always like, my head would always be itchy, like from the past. No, oh my god, no, I sound like I literally live with lice. I swear to God, I literally don't. No, so like if I had like a dry head, it's like my head
you have eczema? I do.
Yeah.
Like I'll randomly. You were like, yeah. The way you just felt so seen. Like, do you?
Do you have eczema?
It's like,
don't.
I think that's what I have. Like my scalp, I don't know. It's never been. Whenever I'm like stressed, I'll get flare ups, and my scalp will suddenly get like itchy, and I can't see it. I can't see my scalp, but I can assume it's like red.
Yeah.
And like my skin's been really dry, and I don't know if it's like the water here or this or that. But
It's
like
the water. The water's
I've been asking my followers. I'm like, please give me any remedies you have. Like, and I've been using, paralysis stuff, which is like for eczema too.
Oh.
I don't know, whatever. It's like a whole thing. But I get the dry itchy scalp.
Yeah.
But like, I've never had lice, and that
Never, not even in like elementary school.
I don't think so.
Oh my god, you're so.
I'll have to ask my mother, but I don't think so. But maybe I've had lice my whole life.
You're like, actually, maybe it's not eczema.
Yeah, maybe it's just lice. Because like I don't know what. No, it's not like that. That lice. Like you're like
No,
really
I
bad.
had lice. But oh my god, you know the funny thing when I had lice in college.
Crazy statement.
Crazy.
When I had lice the first time in college.
Story time. No, literally. Well, I got it because I worked at this like little kids. Oh my god, bro! Little kids literally transmit.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Okay, at least you worked with kids.
Yeah, I worked with
I was
kids.
like, you got this from another adult? Like,
Yeah, no.
what are we doing here?
No.
Switch colleges.
Yeah, so I was working with kids at like this little birthday party place, and I'm assuming that's where I got the lice. And then I went to school, and I started like feeling my head itchy, and I'm like, oh, it's just like because I'm a hypochondriac. Like I'm just like that. So
The
then,
one time there actually is something
no,
wrong.
I know. Literally, I'm like, oh no, I'm such a hypochondriac. So then I'm like itching and itching and itching, and one day I'm in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen. I swear to fucking God, I'm literally, I can't do this. And I feel something moving in my head. I'm like, oh, hell, no. Bro, I go in with my finger. I picked it the fuck out of
Shut
my
up.
I
Shut
swear.
up.
I literally picked it out of my head. And I see it, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not a hypochondriac. And because
You felt so validated.
dude, I felt so validated. No,
You're showing me.
No, literally.
It is a
no,
lice.
bro. It jumped out of my hand. I know. My poor roommates.
Oh, I was gonna say your roommates.
Yeah, but they never got lice. Thank God. And
But
they
you
were-
still have to clean all your stuff, don't
I
you?
know, it was terrible.
Like,
bro,
temp the place.
I went to lice clinic. They were playing Coco Melon on the TV, and they're like, we're little kids on the.
You had
other
like a
lice.
lollipop.
Bro, I literally am like, so. How do you guys do?
Oh my
with
God,
the
they have to
lice
like comb it
inspection?
all out, right?
Bro, yeah, honestly, it felt great.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I were to get lice again, like, not that bad.
Check me into the clinic.
Check me into the clinic.
On the spectrum of things that you could have, like, I guess lice isn't that. It's curable.
Bro, it sucks though.
It is. It definitely sucks.
No,
Yeah.
literally after that, I wanted to shave my head off. Well, yeah, I wanted to shave my head off.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm starting to
super
get itchy just thinking
paranoid.
about it.
I know, I
My scalp's
can't.
itchy. Okay. So you got lice in college.
lice.
First thing that
First
went
thing.
wrong.
And then some girl crashed into my car. Yeah, no, I was fine.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
she just like hit it, and it was just like a whole like thing because I had to go to the chiropractor and like.
Love a chiropractor
Yeah,
though.
yeah. Well, during that time when I was away from home, my ED got really bad because my parents and my sisters were like always on top of me. They were always making sure that like I was okay and I was going to therapy and I was like doing the things that I had to do at home. But once I left, it was kind of an excuse for me to like get worse because no one was watching. Like
You had to want it for yourself.
Exactly. So this started like a whole trigger warning ED cycle of like binge eating and then restricting, and it was just like on and off and on and off every week. Like it happened.
Yeah.
And if you struggle with this, like, it's like one of the hardest things to stop.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things because your body like craves it. And at that time I was very scared of like carbs. Now thankfully I know that your body needs carbs, and like your body needs every food group.
Yeah.
So I would binge on my roommate's food, on my roommate's like
No.
I wouldn't only go through it. I would eat all of it. Yeah. And I would tell her, I'm like,
I'd go through some of my, I did the same thing. Like we were the same.
Yeah.
I had my ED was the worst. And that's when it started, was in college. But there have been times where like I'd either buy myself all the snacks so I'd eat them, or I wouldn't have any. But then when I wanted to binge, I was like, I don't have anything. So I'd go into my friends and I'd eat, like, hopefully they wouldn't notice, but like they're like pretzels with peanut butter, which I would never let myself buy because I can't stop eating them. But I would like take them by the handful, and like then I'd be like, okay, well, what does she have? And like kind of like go between.
And then you binge because you're like this excess like mindset thing that we both struggle with because we're like, we have
go big or go home.
You know what? I'm like, you have an addictive personality, and so do I.
No, I know. And I was just saying.
No, I know.
I was just saying like a couple days ago, I was like, I don't have an addictive personality. Like that's why alcohol is so easy for me to give up. And I was like, but I actually do have an addictive personality in some ways. But for me, it's healthy. Like I'm addicted to feeling my best self.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to yoga. Like once I do something, like I get really addicted because it's not the thing, it's the feeling.
You know what it is? It's my mom she always says this about me. She's like, you're very extreme, very addictive with the things that you want to do. And if you want to do something that's not good for you, you're going to do it in an extreme way. And if you want to do something that is good for you and will benefit you, then amazing. You're going to accomplish so many things because you have that personality. So it's like you have to be very self-aware and know like, okay, this is not good for me. Even though like the whole binging thing, even though it was like very hard to break out of, I like years of therapy later.
Yeah.
But it's like,
proud of you for that.
Yeah. You have to like really, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. You have to want it for yourself. And when I was struggling, I got an ED coach. I didn't do therapy for it, but I was like, let me get an eating coach because they'll just put me on track. But then I kind of used that as an excuse to like have to eat healthy. Like she was also like a fit coach too, which I was like, that was probably not the move. Because like she's like, what do you want for dessert? I was like, can I have like a half an RX bar? And she'd be like, yeah. Why was that my dessert? And like she'd give me like healthy recipes for dessert because that would like make me be comfortable eating dessert. But then it's like I was also restricting myself and like I couldn't eat a normal brownie, but I could eat the black bean brownies. It was like things like that where I was like,
God, you're so mean.
This is turning into like a different problem. But it took me a while. I found my way without therapy. Not everybody can do that, and it definitely was a lot more probably up and down than maybe your struggle was. I feel like if you have somebody to keep you on track and talk to, maybe it makes the journey easier. I don't know. Everybody's journey is different, but it took me like years and years. And even I think, I don't know if I can talk for you, but I'll always struggle with my
100%.
ID. Like it's something that I'll constantly always have to work on and fight the negative thoughts. Like even me making sourdough, like, well, now do I have to like eat it? Like, and then I do. And I'm like, oh, this is so good. And I honestly think like cooking actually healed me in a lot of ways because when I'm in control, and that's what like anybody with any sort of disorder is like, you need to be in control. And I think I used to be really afraid of eating out because I wanted to cook my own meals, and that's it made me feel better. Like I could eat a bowl of pasta at home and feel better than a bowl of pasta out because I know exactly what's going into it. But I started cooking and not just healthy things. I cooked things just because I wanted to cook them because they made me feel good, or I wanted to share them with other people. God. And now it's like this is the first time in my life where like I'm cooking things that aren't just healthy. It's because I want to, and it's what I crave. But I'm actually eating them. I used to bake and cook so much when I had an ED, but I wouldn't touch the food.
Yeah,
I would give it to other people because it was like a sick like way of stimulating like I was eating, but I wasn't.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah, but for the first time ever, I can like eat my own food, and it tastes so much better too, knowing like I did it and like I like it and I enjoy it, and it cured me. It honestly was the last seal on my like
you know,
healing
what's
journey.
so crazy is that I said this to my mom the other day. I'm like, I want to start cooking, but like cooking like real meals, because, well, literally everything you said, like to the T, I feel like it's gonna be the last thing to kind of like seal the deal, even though, you know, you're still gonna, it's a lifelong like 100%. Struggle. But yeah, and I want to do, this is like another little thing that I want to do. So you know how I mentioned that I'm Jewish? So every Friday night, I want to do like dinners and like have people over and like cook something like, Shabbat. I want to like cook something like delicious. Of course, you're invited. Like, you're coming over. This is once I start cooking. I need to.
I'll host you for Shabbat.
I love it. I need to learn. I really do need to learn, but I really want to start cooking.
Yeah, you should. Absolutely lean into it. Anything that anybody wants to do. My episode before this, I was talking about getting out of a rut. And I think it's so important for people to lean into new hobbies and activities, because last week I was in a rut, and like starting to like cook and bake and do sourdough, like that gave me something to look forward to. Like every day I was like, oh, I gotta check on my yeast. Like I was
check on my yeast.
Like I was like, is it bubbling? Like it gave me a new excitement and something to put my energy towards that wasn't just so inward and like focusing on me. It was like, what can I focus on outwardly?
You know, another little thing. Yeah. I feel like we need to do more for like outward. I feel like a lot of the self-care, yes, 100% you should take care of yourself, but I think one big part of taking care of yourself should be something like not towards yourself, but something that you do. Maybe you do it for other people, maybe you do it for you and for other people, but it's like, I don't know, but you just described it like perfectly.
I think like it feels so good to be able to give to other people, and it makes you be grateful for the things that you have. But I think it just also, it just takes less on you and puts like, you start focusing your attention on other people who also need help. And I don't say like avoid all your problems, whatever this or that. But I think a lot of the times we live so much in our heads and we make things to be so big, and we forget that there's a whole other world out there and a whole other people who appreciate us and need us and who we can show up for. And when you show up for other people, you also are showing up for yourself. Like the feeling that I get when I compliment somebody or give somebody something, like somebody needs a compliment, you don't even know that, but like maybe they like made their day, or it helped them in some way, or I brought flowers for somebody today, and that made me feel good to tell that person, hey, I'm here for you, I'm thinking of you. And that filled my cup, like doing that for that person. And that makes me just happy to like be experiencing being a human. And like we all just have to help each other and be there for each other. That's what life's about.
100%.
Like our community is so important. The people that we surround ourselves with is so important.
So important. And for a while, like I would only hang around like my family because my experience with friends has been different, also because of my own personal struggles. I would like, I would isolate.
I'm a big isolator.
Yeah. But being around people that make you feel good is so important. I mean, obviously I said my family makes me feel good, but also having like just people in general that like make you feel good and fill your cup, and like surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and not like sink you down. My mom has always said that. She's like, she says this in Spanish. She's like, whenever I'm like around like I've had friends that weren't good for me. Moms always know.
They do.
Yeah. She'd be like, esa es una ancla. That means
what does that mean?
That means she's an anchor.
Oh, she's pulling you down. Okay. Let's talk about friendships, because that's like a big thing.
Yeah.
I know I've gone through a lot of like friendship breakups and cycles, and I'm certainly not friends with people who I thought that I was going to be friends with years ago. Have you gone through a lot of like friendship breakup cycles? Did you lose people when you decided to be sober, or like living at home now? Like, what's like that all like for you?
Starting off, I had my best friend from childhood. We literally best friends. Our parents were best friends. We grew up being best friends. And then once we hit like 15, 16, the age where I was like going out and drinking, you know, like I feel like when you're going through your teen years, you're not that your personality changes, but you change, because I feel like in a way during that era in people's lives, you're becoming something that you weren't before. Like before you're a kid, you know, now it's like all of a sudden like boys are in the question and like all these other things. And then it made me become, you know, like someone that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And also,
well, you start also viewing your girlfriends a little bit as competition because you
yeah,
you have the same crush on people where like she has bigger boobs than you. Like those are all like real things in high school that you start to like look at your friends and you're just like, oh, well, she's prettier than me, or she doesn't have acne, or you compare yourself. And boys definitely get in the way because when you're younger, you think your whole world's like this man. Like the guys that I was dating in high school, it's like, I'm going to marry him. Like, don't even know his last name.
Yeah.
But,
you know, it was just, we were just not best friends, like how we were, like pure friendship. It turned into something like not catty, but it was internally like it felt like it.
Yeah.
And then we drifted ways, and it wasn't until I healed myself and she healed on her complete own that we were able to now like reconnect that. And now she invites me. She's married.
Oh,
she
wow.
invites me to
She's
her house,
24.
like, for Shabbat. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now our relationship is completely different, and I mean that's
beautiful.
Yeah, that is like
that's
beautiful.
best case scenario. I think for anybody is you allow somebody. You guys grow separately, and then if you come back together, you come back together. And that's a prime example of that. And your relationship, I don't know if I can speak for it, but maybe it's stronger
100%.
than it was or could have ever been had you forced it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. And I think also maybe a lot of the people you meet during different times of your life, they have their own stuff that they're dealing with. So that's also why they're not good for you, because they haven't healed themselves.
Yes.
So they're projecting things, and you guys are just like feeding on each other's like bad ideas and like internal state. And like, that's why a lot of friendships, I feel like during certain ages or whatever, just like fall apart. Because listen, healing is a lifelong journey.
Yes.
So for example, me 24 years old now, compared to me 15 years old, I'm like, I don't even know her, right? So the friends that I had when I was that age, I would not even like think of being friends with them now.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I kid you not, some of the friends that I look back on when I was like that age, they still are
the same.
They seem like they are.
Yes. I have a lot of those people too.
Yeah.
Who in high school with or college, whatever, we had a big friend group, and I've moved on. No hate to those people.
Yeah,
like
no hate.
We just live different lives, and I'm here and I have a whole different friend group, but some of them still just hang out with each other. And you know, that's amazing. They've been friends for so many years, but I also can't help but think, have you guys really not grown and changed where you guys could still get along, like be that close of friends?
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. I think you limit yourself a little bit when you don't allow new people to come in, or you get too comfortable in friendships. And listen, some people do remain friends for that long, and that's very like admirable.
Yeah.
But I also think that if you're not changing, if you're not growing, if you don't have new characters in your life, then you're not blooming to your full potential. And you're limiting the people who are able to come into your life and potentially change you. If you keep the same people around, like you might not realize like, oh, I'm actually really interested in that, or I like this quality about a person, or this person is inspiring me to do that. If you keep the same group around, like you're not not going to get that new fresh,
100%.
things.
I will say this, physical like things and mental things, like if I mentally take myself out of a relationship and the person leaves, somebody else, and if they don't, then it's fine. Somebody else will come along that's better. But if the person is there and they're holding that physical like space, then no one better is going to come along.
Right.
No one better. And I say this to people who are in relationships that are not good for them. I'm like, bro, I know it's not easy, but you need to think of like, you are holding yourself captive. You're holding yourself captive of having a better life, because you are literally next to this thing that you're holding hands to. Obviously, like, it's difficult because it's like you want to be there, but at the same time, toxic relationships.
Yeah. And those are friendships too. Toxic relationships, friendships, same thing.
Whatever. It's like the good times are good, and then there are, and listen, I believe in there's good and bad to everyone. I'm not saying everyone is perfect and like you should only be around people who are like da-da-da, but like
You need to be around people who are working on themselves, and
yeah.
take accountability and are self-aware.
100%.
You could have as much, I don't care how many traumas you have, you're still a good person, and we can still connect because you're self-aware and you're working on those things. Like,
self-awareness
nobody
is
just born toxic. And I feel bad for people who, you know, have those tendencies and don't have the want or awareness to do better for themselves. And that's the person who gets the label of the toxic person, but they're not. They just have learned behaviors that they haven't unlearned. And
bro, why do
they
I feel
don't
like you're
want
in my
to.
brain? Like, I swear to you, everything that you say, I'm like, oh my God, life literally brought you to me, because
I know.
I would have never, like, me in the past, so unhealed. I was, oh my God, you're literally thinking the same thoughts as me. And that is proof. That's literally, well, not, you know what I mean? But that's proof that, like, you meet people who are on the same wavelength as you, as how healed you are internally, and how much, like, you've truly taken the time to, like, get to know yourself and work on yourself and, like, really, really grow.
Well, yeah, because, like, had I met the, like, unhealed Hannah, I say in quotes if you're not watching this, or like,
I would never be
or
here.
like the me that maybe was partying and crazy, like, we may not have not connected, you know, but I met you at a place where we are on similar wavelengths, so we were able to connect with each other. But yeah, like, maybe I met you 2 years ago, we wouldn't have connected, or maybe we would have just had a shallow connection because we would have been partying and drinking together, and it would have been different. And maybe we'd eventually grow together. But, like, I do think, like, people, if you are fixated or hyperfixated on a certain person, or you're holding on to things that aren't good for you, you have blinders on, and you're limiting the blessings and everything else coming in. But yeah, letting go is hard, and you lose a lot of friendships. I've lost 2 of my closest friends in the last 2 years, like, best friends.
2 years.
Like, yeah. And it was really hard, but the first one was harder than the second one, because I think the second one I've just really surrendered to, like, God and life, and knowing that the right people are then aligned with me. And if this person doesn't feel right in my life, and if this person's not meant to be in my life, then they're not going to be. And I just kind of let go. And it brought actually somebody else into my life who was a better friend. And it made space for that person who had been in my life for, like, a couple years, but I hadn't really opened up that space for her and for us to connect. And when I released that friendship, she came in, and it's not like she, like, came running in like, oh, Nicole's, like,
it just
has
happened.
space. It just happened where, like, I had the space to let this person in, and she aligns so much more with who I am now and who I want to be. And she's helping me get there, where the other friend wouldn't have gotten me there. They would have been my anchor, as your mom says. So yeah, it's I think friendship breakups are so hard, and so many people experience those, and it's more difficult than, like, a normal breakup.
It is.
A lot of the time.
I think your friends should inspire you. I think the people you're around, you should look at them and be like, wow, like, I feel so inspired. I feel so empowered that we both want to, like, move in this direction. That we both have these goals, and they might be different goals, but they're both goals, and you're striving and working through them, like, working towards them. I think that's so important. And I've had friends before that all they do is complain. And those are the ones that you gotta cut off.
Yeah. I don't like a complainer.
No,
I just
like,
think if you're not changing it, you're choosing it.
Exactly. A Debbie Downer, like, oh, I can't believe I have this. I can't be around that. If you're just going to complain about the life that you have, I mean,
it's bad energy.
It's bad. I'm like, bro, I just don't want to even be around that. Like, how are you striving to make your situation better, you know?
And those aren't the people who are going to lift you up either when they see you doing good.
Yeah,
they're going to be they're going to give evil eyes. They're going to be jealous.
You read my mind. I literally was just going to say that. That's what I feel, evil eye from, like, those people. I'm like,
they don't want to see you win.
They don't, because they feel so stuck and bad in themselves.
Yeah.
That they don't like seeing other people doing good.
Yeah. I'd rather be alone and have one friend than, like,
100%.
10 who are preying on my downfall.
Yeah.
Like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So what's your relationship like with your parents and living at home?
Dude, I love living at home.
Like, okay, this is where we kind of come full circle, because you used to want to get away from home, and now you can appreciate being home.
Because of everything that I went through, my family, like, they were amazing. They helped me through everything. And now, like, when I went back home, I was like, wow, I really took everything for granted. I took everything for granted. And I think life will show you what you have to appreciate if you don't appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes things have to be taken away from us for us to realize, wow, like, we're really grateful for that thing that we had, like to kind of like put a fire under your ass and be like, wait, I was really lucky to have that. And I think a lot of people complain about living at home or feel like losers for having to stay home or whatever. And I think it's the smartest thing. Like nurture your relationship with your family and save up your money. Like that's a blessing. If my mom lived here, I'd be like, shit, I'm moving in. Like I'm trying to save some money. But I was the same as you, where like college, I was out and I was like, I'm never living at home again. And I lived at home during COVID and it was tough. My relationship with my mom, I'm working on it now. And I definitely wasn't at a place then mentally to work on my relationship with my mom. So it was hard being home and I hated it so much. And I just focused on all the negative. But looking at it now, it's like she gave me a place to stay during COVID. She made it more bearable. I didn't have a bill to pay. Like I had a roof over my head and I was able to lean into my TikTok career at that time because there was nothing going on and I had no bills to pay. Yeah. And it helped me, get a leg up on my career. And I think anybody, if you're staying home and you're figuring your shit out, be grateful to be home and figure your shit out and use that time wisely.
Use it wisely.
Because you're also, I don't want to like, give away too many of like the things that you have gone in your life, but like you're a little entrepreneur. Like you want to do something bigger than just social media.
For sure.
And your community and the people around you are so important for that. But like your parents are allowing you the space to do that.
My parents, I love them so much. Like shout out my parents.
Shout out
like,
parents.
Yeah, no, for real. Like they're the biggest blessing in my life. My family, my parents and my sisters, and they're my biggest supporters. Aww. Yeah.
Your parents are separated?
Yeah.
But they have a good relationship?
They do. And I'm not going to lie, my relationship with my dad, for example, hasn't always been the best. That
Preaching to the choir, sister.
Yep. And it wasn't until, again, once I was able to heal parts of myself, I was able to have a better relationship with my dad because I brought out things like we had conversations about, the trauma and the things that I went through because I'm very vocal. I have a very, like, if something's bothering me, I will always say it. What's on my mind, I will always say it. And through my healing and healing those parts of my trauma, I was able to like talk about them with my dad and talking and telling him this didn't make me feel good. This part of my life caused me to like I was just explaining to him how things happened and what happened to me during those times and how like just explaining to him how I felt and what I went through. It felt healing in a way, and having an open conversation about the trauma that involves me and my dad, which is like part of it, like my parents, divorce.
I've been there too. My parents separated when I was in 4th grade, but they didn't get divorced till I was in college, and it was like a very messy divorce. And I'm working right now on healing my relationship with my parents. I'm tackling my mother first.
One at a time.
I got to do one at a time because 2 would be extremely overwhelming, but I'm working on it with my therapist right now. I started going to therapy for it, and I started going to therapy for a lot of things. Now I'm like, okay, well, we tackled the boy things. We tackled this, like time to tackle the parents, which is what I was putting off. And it's the hardest thing.
Everything is tied to each other.
100%.
Your relationship, my relationship with guys is so tied to my relationship with my dad.
I think it's all also just tied to my relationship with me and with breaking yourself. A cycle. And I don't feel like I fully believe that this is the last step of my healing journey, and to be able to be the best version of myself and go into this next season of my life where it's like, I want a boyfriend who I can like bring home and be excited to introduce to my parents and then start a family together and have that relationship where I'm like, this is, have a kid and this is your grandma, and like have them a part of that. And I started thinking about that, and like I want to break cycles. I want my kid to have a good relationship with me, and the only way that that's happening is if I have a good relationship with my mom. It doesn't have to be best friends. And I think I had to get that out of my head, which was my therapist would always say whenever I would be like, okay, I want to work on this with this person, or even if it was about a boy, if it was about a friend, if it was about this, she'd say, what is the relationship you want to have with that person? Like, first figure that out.
Yeah.
And then we can go from there. And she was like, what does your relationship with your dad look like, ideally? And I was like, you know what? We don't have to be best friends. We're not going to get there. But like, I would like to talk to him once a week, and I would like to just be, you know, have something. Yeah. And then maybe it'll turn into something. But like, I know that I can't text him tomorrow and suddenly he's going to be the best dad in the world and we're going to have no problems and whatever. Like, it's going to take time. And my homework has been to text him, and it's been like really hard for me, but I have been working on calling my mom once a week and at least sending her texts and stuff like that, and having boundaries, and like healing that has been so healing for me. I feel so at peace, and I feel like I keep saying healing, but I feel like really calm.
You feel good when you tackle things internally. You feel so much better because it's weighing you down. If not, you know,
it's like a release.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, I'm not letting that bother me or affect me anymore. Like, how long have I been holding on to that trauma for 10 years?
And it's like a trickling. It's like taking weights off your back. Once you take this rock off, it's like, okay, and then now the next one. It's like, but for some reason, at least for me, a lot of my rocks are related to each other. It seems like it's almost like this happens, and then this happened, and then this happened, and because of this, now I have to go all the way back and try to heal this part of me. And then once I do that, it's like, okay, what happened next? It's like, let's try to work on that. Yeah, I get that. No, but it's crazy that you say that your relationship with your dad, you don't want, like, you at least want to be cordial with him and stuff. Dude, I was at a point with my dad, like, years ago, my relationship with him. I, like, did not like my dad at all. I'm like, I don't even want to be around him, da-da-da. And once I was like, okay, I just want to be cordial. And I began understanding, you know what? He's a human being. He doesn't have to be a superhero. He doesn't have to meet all of my expectations, because at the end of the day, he's a human just like you and I. And I think that also made the pressure of him being like this amazing dad to just be like, you know what? He's my dad, and he is who he is, and I just have to see him for that and appreciate his good. And, you know, so after that, I was able to let my dad in again. And like I said, I wanted to be cordial, whatever. And now my dad is like my best friend. Now I'm like up and down with my dad. I literally tell him about the boys in my life. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So much. You just have to open the door, and that's what I have to do. Is I have to open the door. Yeah. With mine. Do you do a lot of your healing through therapy?
Yeah. Okay. I thank therapy so much for, like, mostly all of it, because if I didn't put myself in the position to do therapy, maybe I would have dealt with stuff on my own. But it helps you realize parts of yourself, and it, you know, they bring it into light. And I feel like it's also, not that it's like motivating, but it's like, you know, you have someone else for you. Like, you have someone there for you, and you don't just have to rely on yourself.
What I love most about it is, like, you can say whatever you want to your therapist.
I love it.
And it's kind of like feels a little bit weird at first. I'm like, I'm always explaining myself. I'm like, this is going to sound really bad to say. She's like, just say it. Like, I'm like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how bad, like, this person's not listening to me. Maybe she's judging me. I don't know. Like, but like silently, she's not going to be like, you know, I doubt she gets off the call and is like, oh, Nicole, this and that. Like, I think therapists like compartmentalize really well. And it's just like that hour that she has me, she just lets me say whatever I want. Gives me, therapist, you know, my advice or whatever. Does your therapist follow you on TikTok?
Bro, I wish she did.
Okay. Does she say no, she doesn't? Like,
she says she's like a mom. Like, and honestly, I've been through way different therapists for years,
Mm-hmm.
and this is finally the therapist that I feel like is my favorite therapist.
I love
the
that.
best relationship I have with a therapist. If you don't like your therapist, it's not therapy probably that you don't like. It's probably the relationship with your therapist. It's probably not the one for you, and you have to look for a different therapist.
Yeah, it's dating.
It literally is.
It's dating.
It is.
I got my therapist, and I think I got lucky with her. We're on our like 5th session, so
really?
we get like more and more comfortable every time. I like her, but I'm like,
You're like, we're warming up.
no,
to
we're
one
war.
another.
We like, we'll like flirt. No, I'll like get her to like laugh a little bit. I'm like, oh, like it's just nice when she starts to know you, so I don't have to like explain things or like who new characters are. Like she's just kind of like, how's so and so, and I'm like, I thought you'd never ask.
Yes, bro. Oh my god.
It's just like a little session to like
It
gossip,
really is.
literally,
It's
but
the
like
best.
in a constructive way.
It is.
In a
It
constructive
is.
way. I definitely suggest anybody to do therapy because I was scared of it for a long time. I was running away from it. I was running away from a lot of things. I was just kind of like, no, but I was ready to face everything this year because I really want to put a nice little pretty ribbon on everything and make sure I'm doing everything for myself that I possibly can. So now that your relationship with like your dad's really good, how has that transpired into your dating life?
It's crazy. I've said this before in like a couple videos of mine, but my relationship with my dad, since it used to be so different, I would like seek attention from guys, and I was always like, oh my god, like, is this guy gonna like my story? That's another thing. We should not be so like, oh my god, he's liking my story. Like, no. You know what is he doing? How is he showing up for you? Like, is this the guy you whatever. Anyways, sorry.
No, you don't have to say whatever. That speak it. Like speak on it. Yeah, tell him.
But I was just like getting bare minimum, and I was okay with it because I didn't have a male figure in my life to really pay attention to me because I didn't let that in for myself. So now that my relationship with my dad is way different, I'm like, I don't even care if I don't have anyone that I'm like dating or talking to because I know that they're gonna eventually I will, and I don't need to seek, I guess, just anyone to fill that void. You know, if that makes sense. But dating, especially dating in South Florida, bro, I can't.
How's dating living at home? I never had to do that. I mean, I guess in high school, but it's like I wasn't like seriously dating. Like I was dating somebody, but it's like, oh, like Matt's coming over. I'm like, okay. Like, if I was in my late 20s and seriously dating, like I dated a guy like 2 years ago. I was just home for 4th of July. He was like, he was like 34 or something. And I was like 27, 26, whatever. And we went on a date. He came to my hometown because I was at home at the time. And then like afterwards, it was like, where do you want to go? And he's like, well, we could just go back to your sister's if you want, like hang out. I'm like, okay. So he like came back to my sister's, and like my sister and her husband were like there, and then we like had to like do the intro, and then we all sat outside around the fire, and like it was nice. Like he met my family day one, but then I was like, this is so weird. Like I don't know this person. Like now we're in like my family's home, and they're analyzing like this guy and this date, and like it's hard. Like I don't think I could like be in a serious relationship living at home.
It's difficult, and I've seen. Like my perspective has kind of changed. I used to be like, oh, I don't care if my family meets them. Like my family is like the closest thing to me, you know, like
you want them to get along and meet them.
Of course.
Yeah.
But now I will say, I think it should be like a stepping stone for your family to meet them, just because like it hurts if it doesn't work out and like they knew everyone and they knew that side of you, and it's like you opened up. It's difficult, but at the same time, it's been, not that it's been like my only experience, because when I was in college, I was like dating, not like seriously dating, but like I would go out with like guys, and they, you know, it's only different because now they can't just like casually like come over. And I mean, not that that ever like really, you know.
But like if I was dating a guy, I'd be like, oh, come over, I'd make you dinner.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like you have to go to their place if they live alone.
Or not even like.
Or go out.
Take me out.
Yeah. Take me out.
Take me out. Take me out.
But yeah, like it definitely alters your experience.
It does. It's hard.
Are you like ever, I mean, I know you shouldn't be, but like, let's just ask the question. Are you ever embarrassed to be like, hey, I live at home?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
Has anybody ever been like, oh, you live at home?
I feel like sometimes they can be like a little, you know, like, oh, like, but recently I just don't care. I don't care. And I'm like, if you're judging me for living at home, then that speaks about you. You know?
Yeah.
So
it's like, different if like I wouldn't date a guy who was like 30 living at
home. Yeah,
that's where things are different.
That's where
I'd
be
like,
different. Yeah.
Unless it was like his house went under and
yeah, every situation
like, there has
different.
to be a situation. Like,
every situation.
If he's choosing
different.
to live there, I'd be a little bit like, what's going on?
Are you a mama's boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's to be quite honest with you, I've never been in like a serious relationship with a guy.
Okay.
It's always I haven't gotten I haven't gotten past the situationship phase.
Okay. That's like a very real, I'm sure, relatable thing.
Yeah.
I think I've had a lot of girls be like, I've never had a boyfriend. Should I be embarrassed? And to that I say no.
No.
Like I have really actually only had one because, oh my God, because we go big or go home.
Oh, 100%.
I've had one serious relationship in my life, 4.5 years. No, I know. Eyes big. And I haven't been in one since. I've been on dates. I've never really say I've been in a situationship, but I definitely like have been in a form of which I've been like, because I used to at least hyperfixate on one person. I put my commitment and loyalty towards one person because I'm the type of person, I'm loyal. If I like you, I like you. I know it.
Yeah.
Like I attach to people and I'm like, this is gonna be my person. And I've definitely like given my loyalty to people who don't deserve it. And in that way, I kind of get myself in a personal situationship where like they're not in a situationship.
Yeah.
But like I really only had one really serious relationship. But I'm kind of grateful for that because I've had all the dating experience between. And I know the next one, it's like I'm coming out this person like a full person. Like like complete. I've had the experiences. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly what I can give. And I'm going to commit. And I have no fear of commitment. Like there's going to be no in between.
Oh, 100%.
With my next person's going to be my last one. Mark my fucking words.
I was literally
Mark
just
my
say that.
fucking
Both
words.
of us. Pinky swear, you know, the universe is like on our side. I swear to God, because I'm not, listen, I'm the type of person, I'm not dating just to like have fun and like whatever.
That's funny because you're 24. Like that's when you should be dating to like have fun. But you're like ready to.
Dude, you know what? Like like I'm ready to have kids. No. No, but like I'm ready to be serious about someone. Like I'm dating like honestly for marriage. Like if I'm putting my energy into you, I'm not just wasting my time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you'd be ready to like be in a relationship tomorrow? Like you don't feel like you want to explore yourself more? Like
no, it hasn't happened because there are parts of myself that I know, you know, I need to, I guess, explore. But
yes,
when it does happen, I know it's gonna be right.
You're not like forcing.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's gonna be like, it's gonna work.
Yeah. I love that. I respect anybody who is just happy being single and go with the flow and they don't put pressure on it. And I was just talking to my friend a couple of days ago about this, where we've had a friend who's been in a relationship for a really long time. And it's the only relationship he's had. It's the only relationship she's had. It's all they've ever known. And they've made a lot of sacrifices for each other. And there's like, you know, not even a ring on it. And it's been a lot of years. And I'm just kind of like, I think it's a little bit sad to me if somebody stunts their growth like that and is in something that they're comfortable with. Like I would rather get comfortable being uncomfortable, and the uncomfortable is being single. I think a lot of people are really afraid of ending up alone, being single, being 29 and single. Oh my God, how are you not panicking? It's like, because I'm using this time to my advantage because it's inevitable. And like,
I could tell the version of you that's going to attract
the best, highest partner. Yeah. And like, I don't want anybody who's not that for me. And even last year or 6 months ago, I can confidently say that at that time I would say to myself, oh, Nicole, you want to be in a relationship. Like I want to be in a relationship. I was not ready. I always had a little thought, a little voice in the back of my head. Well, shit, what if he actually does want to date me? Or what if this actually does? I was always self-sabotaging in the littlest way, minuscule ways. Like no one would see outwardly, or it wasn't destructive. But I was telling myself, I don't actually want to be like with this person. Like, or like if he turned around and said he wanted to date me, like I think I would like panic a little bit. I can fully say for the first time in my life ever, I am so ready for a serious relationship, and I would get married tomorrow to the person who is my person.
Wow.
And I feel like 100% in that commitment. Like there's no afraid to commit. There's no like afraid of settling down. Like that's my next phase in my life.
Yeah. And if they're not the one, then you're not going to settle.
I'm not going to settle, and I'm not going to force it. So like I'll wait. That doesn't mean I'm going to be in a relationship tomorrow. Like this means like I might be single for another 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
That is fine.
Because I'd rather wait the 2 years and be single
than waste your time.
Than waste
and hold
my time.
That space with someone else.
Exactly. And like then it's just gonna move really fast though. Like that's just how, like when you get in your 30s, like I think that should just move super fast.
Yeah. I will say, like, I guess the situationships that I've been in, it's been very, very much like it's difficult to get out of because you've already kind of like, you like this person, but liking isn't enough. I can like a fucking wall. I can like a wall, okay?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean
you like your lice.
Yeah. No, I'm like, I love my lice. I can like anything. And because, you know, at least I know I'm a lover girl. Like I give my heart away, which is like so hard because I need to learn how to protect my heart.
Yeah.
I can't just give my heart away to anything. No. Not at all. Because
give it to your friends. Give it to your family.
Exactly. Things that
not the
are
random
worth it.
Scum on the earth.
Exactly. No. And I think that's what's important is like realizing you can really like anything, but don't take action on the things that you like if it's not being reciprocated.
Exactly. 100%.
I'm just over.
How did you get yourself out of situationships?
Thankfully, my little sister like was strong enough to, because I've never had a good example of a relationship because of my parents. I don't know what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like. And honestly, my little sister and her boyfriend now, I love them. I love them so much. And seeing them makes me like realize like I really shouldn't settle. And she didn't settle, and she was able to be like, this isn't what I want. And she did that, and that inspired me. And it's like, as hard as it is to have to end it with someone because it's not the relationship that you want, you might like the person, you might love the person, but if it's not the outcome that you want, if it's not, you know, if you don't feel it like 100%, if there's something that's bothering you, that's weighing you down about this person, I really don't think you should keep yourself in that situation. And that my sister and her boyfriend now shows me proof that you knowing you deserve better, you will get better. As hard as it is to end it, because like I said, it's so easy to love someone, but you have to know that you want better for yourself.
Yeah. Letting go is the hardest thing
so
because
hard.
you have to accept the idea that one, you might be alone for a little bit, but two, you're uncertain about when the next thing's going to come in. And the uncertainty is where
it makes you doubt, like, did I make the right decision?
Right. And that definitely is like happens after ending a situationship because you kind of start to be like, fuck, like, was that the right decision? Because it doesn't feel good at first. Like a lot of the good decisions for us don't feel good at first.
They don't.
They hurt. You cry, and it'd be a lot easier to stay with that person. Yeah, you wouldn't be crying, but like you'd be crying eventually over something that they did.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
hurting you internally in the long term. You know?
Yeah, it's hurting you. It's hurting you in the process, in the long term. And the more you're putting it off, you're going to hurt eventually. You're going to end up hurt eventually.
Right.
If you feel, for example, like if I'm in a situation with this guy and I feel happy for like a couple days and then I'm sad and I'm happy and I'm sad and it's this cycle, I want peace. And if it's not bringing me peace and I'm in a cycle where I'm overjoyed and then I'm sad and I'm overjoyed and I'm sad and I'm like terribly sad, like crying, that is not healthy. That's not healthy. And when I end it, oh my God, it's going to be terrible. I'm going to cry. I'm going to feel shitty. But I have to remember, do I want to go back to that cycle? Do I want to be in that cycle? I know I'm going to eventually be hurt in the long run. I know I'm going to be hurt maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in 2 days, maybe in a year, whatever. But it's not, if it's not bringing me peace, then I know it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, trust your gut.
Always trust
your gut. Your gut always knows.
Yeah, 100%. I also think like when you're in this cycle with guys who aren't good for you, or you're in situationships, you become numb, like, because it starts to become the normal.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was with this guy and I would cry every single day about something. It maybe not even something that he did, but like I would just think like I was anxious, I was this, I was that, and it just became my new normal. Like, there wasn't a day that I didn't cry, and I forgot that crying every day wasn't normal.
That's
like,
not normal.
nobody should feel that way. But it's kind of like that spectrum of emotion where it's like I'm feeling something.
Yeah.
And if it's not love, it's this. And like maybe I start to get confused with what love is. And maybe love is, crying because you're so, passionate about something, or you want something so badly or whatever. I started to confuse those emotions. And I was like, I just really like him, or I just really like this, or I just really care so much. But it was like, no, Nicole, nobody should make you cry or doubt yourself or make you feel anxious.
You should be at peace
every single day. Like, you should be at peace. And then when I ended things with him, I think like something is inevitable is pain. Crying and inevitable is pain. Is the human experience. Like, we're lucky to experience it. And I think just like me accepting the fact that I said to myself, like, this isn't a hurt. This is gonna suck. You are gonna cry. You're gonna cry again every single day.
Cry.
Even when you're not with him, you're gonna end up crying every single day.
Yeah.
And then eventually one day you won't cry. And then that's when you eventually go, okay, well, maybe I can go 2 days without crying.
Yeah.
And then you go 3 days, and you go 4 days, and then you go a week.
Oh, and you're going to question, you're going to be like, should I text him?
Oh, there's so many. And there are times that I have, like 100%. Like, you start to go back, and then you feel that feeling similar to how when you dabbled with alcohol again, and you go, wait,
like,
this is bringing back like bad things that I like shouldn't go back to, because last week when I didn't cry, it felt really good.
It felt good.
And that's when you have the awareness to be like, wait, I'm going to stop doing this thing that doesn't feel good for me.
You did it for
move on.
For yourself in the long run. For yourself in the long run.
It takes a long time.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Have you been on any dates recently? You don't have to share if you don't want to.
No. I have. And I'm just
She's speechless.
I'm speechless. What can I say? Oh my God, I'm overjoyed.
Took her breath away.
Took my breath away. Dude, I'm almost at the point where I don't even feel like putting myself in the position to date someone, because I'm like, is life gonna bring them to me, or should I put in the work to have to like go out and try to date? You know what I mean?
Somebody just said something to me today that altered my brain chemistry. He said to me, let them pick you.
Damn, that's deep.
Yeah. Let them choose you, let them pick you. He goes, I responded to one of his stories, and he posted something about like a guy having this conversation like on a podcast. And it was like, a woman could either be your piece or this or that. And I said to him jokingly, I was like, well, which one am I? And me and him have banter. So I was expecting him to, this is a friend. I was expecting him to like just say something like funny. Like, we always give each other a hard time. He was like, oh no, you're definitely somebody's piece. I know you'd be so much fun to date. And I was like, oh wow, like I'm gonna cry. And he goes, you're too like, he was like, you're too good to be single, or you're too beautiful to be single. And I was like, I'm not single because I'm not beautiful.
Yeah.
And he was like, he said something else, and he was like, you know what? You're right. Like, let them choose you in this season. And I was like, that hit me, because I was like, I'm not chasing. I'm not forcing.
I am not chasing, not forcing.
I know exactly what I bring to the table. And for the first time in my life, I want to be chosen and not choosing.
Yeah.
Because every time I choose or hyperfixate, I could cry. It doesn't feel good. Like,
doesn't.
I deserve to be chosen, and I deserve to be chased, and I deserve to like be wanted, because I love so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I give people my unwavering loyalty, my attention, everything. And for him to be like, let somebody choose you, it's like, I feel seen. Like that, like that's how it felt. Like, I was like, he's right. Like, I'm going to let the right person come to me. God's going to send him to me, and they're going to pick me and not have a doubt in their mind, because I'm not going to have a doubt.
No, I'm just tired of like putting my energy into things, and like I'm tired of working for someone to love me, if that makes sense. I think love
like
should
earning.
be, I actually learned this in therapy. Love is free. You shouldn't have to do anything for someone to love you. You shouldn't have to show up a certain way. You shouldn't have to show up less of yourself, more of yourself. You just show up and they love you for you. And if they don't, and they don't appreciate that, then they're not your person. So I'm with you. Like I'm just tired. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. It's
So
like
the date didn't go well.
it's not that
he just wasn't your person.
He wasn't my person. And listen, even if they are, you know, I believe in chemistry too. If there's no chemistry, if there's no chemistry, they could be doing the right things. But if you like seriously, really.
And don't be not being picky, not being like
just picky.
Like this. It's like if you genuinely don't feel something in your body.
Yeah, and your personalities have to like, you know, and that's not me saying, oh my God, like I'm thinking with like my toxic like brain, whatever. I'm saying no. I think there should be chemistry, and you should be able to flow with the person. If you feel like you're forcing it in any type of way, then it's not your person. It's not your person.
Because people could even have two different personalities. It's not a matter of someone like matching your exact energy, in the sense where it's like you need somebody who's really hyper or this or that. It's like you just need somebody who you can connect with and have, you know, deep conversations with, but also, you know, talk about this or that, or someone who can bring new ideas or different things that maybe you wouldn't see to the table, or teach you something. Yeah. Like that's also so important. It's like the person who I have chemistry with isn't always the person who maybe is the same person as me. Yeah. You know, it's just somebody who like is maybe a part of me that I'm missing, or can, you know, counteract me really well.
And another thing I will say, like something about myself is, like you said earlier, I tend to self-sabotage. And I think that's also kind of why I'm not ready to be in a relationship. Not that I'm not ready, but I know that I will be when the right person shows up. When it happens, it happens. Right now, I'm not ready because it hasn't happened. So I've been at a place in my life where I tend to self-sabotage. And like if somebody shows up who has all these things, I almost like feel scared because I'm not used to love being like that. I'm used to love being toxic because that's just kind of how I grew up. Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't see a healthy relationship growing up. I really didn't. And like somebody loving me, I'm like, they really like, do they actually really like me? So I feel, no, seriously.
Well, there's also love bombing now. So I get
there's just so
people
many.
can get afraid of like, does this person like me, or do they just not like themselves? So they need me to like them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, but like, seriously, really though, I really do think I'm at a point where if my person walks into my life, I'll know that they're my person. If they're not my person, like I will know, you know?
I think the hardest thing, I've been thinking about this a lot recently, is I could feel that somebody's the right person for me. Like I could meet somebody and be like, that's my person. But if they haven't done the work on themselves, they won't be able to recognize me in the same way I recognize them.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then that's what hurts. It's because like, how could you not see that and I'm not saying like a toxic thing, because there's been guys who I'm like, oh, this is my person, but in the back of my head I always knew like that's not my person. Like I'm being toxic, like whatever. Like I just wanted to work with this guy because he doesn't want me. I really mean that 100%. I really mean in the way where it's like you meet somebody and you're like, this person, everything about them I love. But then there's just something that they feel it too, but then they get in their own way. And it's like there's a part of them that they haven't healed yet or fixed or been aware of that is limiting our ability to like.
That was my last situationship.
You know? Yeah.
That was literally my last situationship. Like I wanted to love him. Like, I really did, but he wasn't ready. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to wait around. I'm
Do
not
you
gonna
think,
wait around.
because I don't really believe in right person, wrong time, but I do believe in right person. I don't know. It's so tough because do you think then that was your person?
I think if it didn't work out, who knows if in the future it will,
Right.
but I'm not holding on to that.
Okay.
I am not holding on to that. My space is open for anyone to come in and show me that they're the right person.
Mm-hmm.
They have to show me. If it's not working out, like I said, as much as I can love this person and feel it like in my heart that they're my person, and I really do feel like I love this person, if you are not able to fully give me all of you, like I'm showing you all of me, then you're not my person. And maybe in the future, like I said,
Right.
but I'm not
or
holding
you're
on
just
to that.
not ready.
You're not. You're not ready. And like,
and unfortunately for them, like you might meet somebody who is and then can give you their full selves, and then they missed out, but then you found somebody who could meet you exactly where you were at when you wanted it and when you needed it, because everybody deserves that, you know.
Yeah.
But you're very self-aware for how old you are.
Thank you.
Like, really, you inspire me.
Inspire me.
I love there's so many sides of you, because I feel like we're the same, where we can be really fun and goofy and light and surface level with who I need to be, and I'm the first person to crack a joke in a bad situation, you know, like we can do that, we can, but there's also a lot of depth to us, and
there is.
I don't let a lot of people see it. Like, I don't connect with a lot of people in that way, but except for, like, of course, all my followers. I think people on, like, my podcast see more of me than you do on TikTok. Like, there's few people who can bring out, like, I have friends who I've never had these types of conversations with. Really? You know what I mean? Like, they're close friends, but it's like there's different people who bring different sides of you out, and you kind of bring out all my sides.
You too.
That sounds really creepy and gross.
No, you bring out all.
You bring out all my sides. But see what I mean? We can go between that and like, you know, being like, is he my soulmate in like 1 second? Like,
no, literally. No, but honestly, same. And that goes back to knowing who you're gonna let in your space.
Yeah. This really just came full circle. Really, I love it so much. Thank you so much for coming on. I feel like it's already been like, I love you. Oh, what? We went way over, I think. Who cares? Anyways,
Dude, I love this.
But I appreciate you coming out here. She drove all the way from, I don't know where, but she drove here. Plug yourself. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at Hesky, Hesky on TikTok, and Hannah Eskenazi on Instagram, HannahEsky.
Did you get that?
Did you get that? Did you can do my phone number?
Yeah, you give them your like personal number,
give them my phone
email.
Number.
If you're a guy watching this, and you're interested now.
No, but honestly, some of my followers do have my phone number. I'm not gonna lie.
Hannah,
I know. Oh my god, I shouldn't have said that.
Why?
Because now, like, what if people like pretend to like be someone they're? I've had that before. It's kind of scary.
Okay. Stop giving out your number.
Yeah, I know.
All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us on Girl Therapy. Make sure you follow me, Nicole Doyon, on Instagram, TikTok, Nicole_Doyon, Snapchat, Nicole Doyon, and YouTube, Nicole Doyon. But yeah, bye. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Mwah.